This measure will clarify the original bill as a ban on polystyrene. We appreciate the work put into this bill by the council and many local businesses, some of which are here today. We are concerned that as written, the proposed draft does not fully address one of the biggest problems with the original ordinance, which was the inconsistency of the definition of recyclable. And we had put forth the amendment in our testimony today to change the word is to can be. And the reason for that is because depending on what the department is recycling or not recycling at the time could lead to a almost immediate shift in what is allowable for products. And also because we believe it puts local businesses at a disadvantage for any business that's located outside of the county to ship in a container of packaged food, but for a local business that's making the product here and employing people and providing jobs, that their product would be banned. So we felt that that was an unfortunate outcome.
We, and I know all of you, councilwomen and councilmen, you know, we do so much great things in the community. I see folks all out there doing a lot of great work. But you, like us local businesses, we don't brag or we don't talk about it. And we do so many good things, but we don't want to even talk about it because we do it because we know that's the right thing to do. So as we find a suitable alternative, we would definitely change. But as for now, we support only the ban on polystyrene because that's the only alternative. So thank you so very much.
We are willing to adapt and change. And I think it is important to point out, though, that the changes we make do have an effect on the prices we charge. And our goal is always to provide value in the community. And part of that value is trying to get the lowest price point for good home-cooked meals. And we are in support of course, changing from styrofoam. But our concern, I think, is finding a suitable alternative that is also cost-effective for our operation. And we are in the process of changing and experimenting, but I think we still need time to make a better choice. I think what we have is good, but is not comparable with the previous products we were using. So we definitely appreciate any time you can give us to make a better decision, especially on the price and the cost to make those changes.
This current legislation, which was intended as a polystyrene ban, really, in effect, resulted in a mandate for compostable containers and a very broad mandate that applied not just to restaurants, but other food establishments. And I think what we all discovered is that businesses like Big Island Candies and Mauna Loa Macnuts would essentially be put in a position of really being put out of business. And so we really appreciate the fact that Bill 74 is being considered to bring this back to where it was intended as a polystyrene foam ban, applying to restaurants. And it's going to be a challenge as is. Much like Cafe 100, we're doing our best as part of the industry to adapt to not just legislation, but the desires of our customer base who has been telling us that they would like to see change.
Because we're in the gift-giving business, you know, we have to package our product in such that it looks appealing. So there's a design process into all of that. And so that, you know, when people purchase it, you know, it also looks good too. I just think that technology right now is not where it is, not advanced enough. So like Derek said, we do support the bill, but just the foam, you know, that we support, the polystyrene foam. It's also a food safety issue for us. we want to make sure that the products are fresh and, you know, packaged well. You know, if other counties, other out-of-state businesses are allowed to do this, and we wouldn't, it would put us at a huge disadvantage, you know, as the way it was previously written. So, thank you.
In Communication 301, some of the conversation and some of the testifiers has spoke concerning a little bit of the verbiage and what the content of this communication is to clarify the definition of recyclables and change the verbiage from is to may be processed into material utilized. And the reason we put this forward has to do with the greater concern and issue with a portion of the bill is that we have a problem with recycling in our county, no fault to anybody in the county except the compostable units. We are no longer composting at this point, and we're not accepting any of the plastic. So this changes it from is and being very restrictive to may be, which allows us to go forward until we actually get the recycling put back in place. So with that, I'm asking for the support of my fellow council members to amend this.
I guess I just wanted to say that I met with some of the people that were some of the first activists to bring this bill to light and have worked extremely hard. And I understood some of their concerns and fears, kind of a PTSD thing, and worries that these were loopholes that were being inserted. But I'm really grateful. Bill Kaczarski met with us and walked us through each and every one of the terms and kind of the legalese involved in this. And I'm extremely grateful for the efforts that were put in there and all of the different circumstances that have had to be considered so that it doesn't negatively affect the phenomenal businesses and manufacturers we have here on the Big Island, as well as our local grocery store chains. And I just really want to compliment those that have worked on this so diligently.
Initially, people thought we were trying to repeal the bill, and that had nothing to do with it. And people thought we were going to delay the implementation, and that had nothing to delay the implementation date, and that had nothing to do. What we were trying to do is clarify some of these concerns that were raised, and it had to do with our inability as a county to recycle products that we could up until recently recycle. One of the questions also came out was, or one of the statements that, well, if you read the bill, the only fines and penalties pertain around polystyrene foam and had nothing to do with the use of the plastics or recyclable plastics. And I was asked, well, if there's no problem then and no fines, why are we going to bother touching the bill? It's interesting. Industry said we don't want to be doing things that are technically in violation of law. We want it to clean it up. And I appreciate that coming from industry. So
I think you're correct with the perception that we were hearing from our constituents when this first came out. So I'm glad you took the time to clear it up, and I really support your efforts.
You know, I had been preparing a bill myself until I found out that Mr. Richards had come up with something on his own, and I really do appreciate that. I think you also know that when this original bill came out, both Sue Leloy and myself voted against it. And it's not so much, I cannot speak for her, but I think we were pretty much on the same page on this. It's not that we thought that polystyrene was a good thing. It's just that we felt that it unfairly targeted local eating establishments. And you could still bring in polystyrene from the mainland. You could sell it at big box stores, but yet our local vendors couldn't use it anymore. And I thought it was patently unfair and you know, targeting our local businesses. And incidentally, Mr. Kobayashi, you know, I go to your place almost like, now I'm kind of on the low now, maybe 2 times a week, but before, you know, when my kids were young, like 5 times a week, right? But that box that you guys get, kind of leaking, you know. No, you know, I got to give you guys credit, though. You guys have tried to adapt to the, you know, the needs of the community and try to be more socially responsible. But you're right. You got to get something different because it's leaking. Yeah, those things just don't work. But I love your establishment, as do I do with Big Island Candies and KT. I go to you guys' place like 3 times a week, right? ZIPPY'S, I'm a ZIPPY'S, of course. But I go to Cafe 100 more. I know everybody over there. Yeah. But, you know, so what happened here when all of these local vendors now, and, you know, I think Derek brought it up, how much they contribute to our, you know, just our community without asking for anything in return, just doing the right thing. You know, when they started coming up to tell us, hey, there's a problem, you know, with this. We're not looking to changing this polystyrene ban, but there are other unintended consequences, particularly because China's not accepting the you know, these materials anymore. So it forced us at the county level to change our recycling program, and everything in here was tied into our recycling program that wreaked havoc on the situation. And we had to help you guys.
All these to-go items and compostables and recyclables are an interesting element of our business and a necessary element of our business. And I think we could go further with this bill. And I think that almost everyone I talk to is more than willing to eliminate as much as they can from a waste stream, even if it means affecting their bottom line a little bit, because we understand that this is an island and we live here, and there's only so much waste we can pile in the holes before we fill them up. And I heard that from almost everyone I talked to, and they're willing to go there as long as we have an industry that can back us with what we need to put our products in a disposable foodware or a recyclable foodware of some sort. So I was really happy to hear that from our business members on this island.